This video is about factoring polynomials, specifically quadratic expressions. So a quadratic expression is of the form ax squared plus bx plus c. Now I write it like this so we can clearly see what is our a value. So x squared is the same as saying 1x squared. Now we're going to combine like terms. So this would be our a value, that's 1. This is our b value, that's 2. And this is our c value here. Okay? Alright. So from this we can write that a equals 1, b equals 3. Those are the corresponding terms. C equals 2. Okay? And AC means A times C. So AC, A times C, equals our A value, which is 1, times our C value, which is 2. Now, a little tip in working this method is look at your literal AC value and see if you add them, if you'll get your B value. In this case, we do. So 1 times 2 is 2, but 1, which is this, plus 2, which is this, equals 3. And this 3, this is our b value here. And so we're going to replace, let's write our original expression. Our original expression was x squared plus 3x plus 2. Now we're going to replace our middle term here with the added form of the factor. This is the added form of the these are the factors. This is the added form of it. So we're going to replace our middle term with the added form of the factor. But because the expression is in terms of x, these are x's. Okay? So it will be x squared, which is our first term, plus 3x. My 3x will take this form. So that would be 1x, which is just x, plus 2x's, plus my last term, which is 2. Okay? My first two terms, I'm going to put those in parentheses. So that is x squared plus x, plus my last two terms, I put those in parentheses. That is 2x plus 2. My greatest common factor in my first parentheses is x. So I factor that out. Then I have my parentheses. I'm going to use my greatest common factor to divide each term inside the parentheses here. So x squared divided by x. Remember that x squared means x times x. Okay? And if I divide x times x by x, this x will take out one of the x's, leaving just x. So here it is. X squared, that is x times x. And I'm dividing it by x here. So if I divide this by x, this x can take out that, leaving just x here. Okay? Now, x divided by x, anything divided by itself, that is 1. Okay? Now, let's come to this sign here. My greatest common factor here is 2. So, 2x divided by 2, the 2's will take out each other, leaving just the x, plus 2 divided by itself, that goes 1. Now, if you look at it, my parentheses are the same. Once they are the same, it means that that is one of my factor. So one of my factor is x plus 1, and my other factor would be the terms that are outside each parentheses. So my term outside my first parentheses is x, and the term outside my second parentheses is plus 2. And these are my factors. Okay? So that is example 1. Now example 2. Example 2, if you look at it, this one is in terms of p. So remember that it's not always x or y. You can use any variable for this. Alright, so my a value would be the coefficient of my squared value there. So a equals 1, b equals the coefficient of just the middle term, that's my p, so that is 12, and c is my constant, which is 27. So ac, which means a times c, is 1, which is a, times c, which is 27. Now, if I look at these two, if I add these two, I will not get 12. Okay? So 1 times 27, that is 27. Now, I need to find the factors of 27, that when I add them, I get 12. So if I say 3 times 9, I know 3 times 9, that will still give me 27, which is this. But 3 plus 9, that will give me 12, which is my middle term here. And so I'm going to replace my middle term here with the added form of the factor. But because my expression is in terms of p, these are actually p's. So it will now become p squared, which is this term, plus 12p. My 12p take this form, so that would be 3p plus 9p plus my last term, which is 27. My first two terms go into parentheses, so that is p squared plus 3p plus 9p plus 27. My greatest common factor in this parentheses is p. P squared divided by p would go p. Okay, this would be p times p divided by p. This p would take out one of those p, leaving just p. Plus 3p divided by p. The p's would take out each other, leaving just the 3. My greatest common factor here is 9. 9p divided by 9. The 9 will take out each other, leaving just the p. 27 divided by 9, that is 3. Again, my parentheses are the same, meaning that is one of my factors. So here are my factors. P plus 3, that is one of my factors. And my other factor would be the terms that are outside the parentheses. So that would be P plus 9. And this is my solution. Okay, these are my factors for that question. Alright, let's look at another one quickly. So this one here, we have, let's use this one here. So here we have b squared plus 7b minus 8. So b squared plus 7b minus 8, my a value would be 1, because that is 1b squared. B is the coefficient here, which is 7, and c is my constant, which is negative 8. So AC would be a, which is 1, times c, which is negative 8. Okay? Now, 1 times negative 8, that is negative 8. Now, I need you to take this part as notes. Whenever your AC value is negative, it means that one factor must be negative and the other factor must be positive. So one must be negative, one must be positive, because only negative times positive will give you negative, or positive times negative will give you negative. Okay? So once your AC value is negative, one factor must be positive and the other negative. Okay? Alright. Now, if I look at these two, if I add these two as is, I will get negative 7, but this is positive 7. So it means then that I need to switch the sign around. I need to switch the sign around. So I could have this part as negative 1. So this was positive, I switch it to negative, times this is negative, I switch it to positive. So negative 1 times 8 will still give me negative 8. But negative 1 plus 8, that will give me 7, which is my b value here. And so I'm going to replace my middle term here with the added form of the factor. But because my expression is in terms of b, these are b's. Okay? Alright, so let's continue. So it is b squared plus 7b. My 7b takes this form, so that would be negative b, which is this, plus 8b, which is this part here, minus my 8. Okay? My first two terms go inside the parentheses, so that is b squared minus b plus 8b minus 8. So my greatest common factor here is b. B squared divided by b. Remember, b squared, that is b times b, divided by b. This b will take out one of those b's, leaving just b. Negative b divided by b, that is negative 1, because negative divided by positive is negative, and b divided by itself is 1. Okay? My greatest common factor here is 8. 8b divided by 8, that is just b. The 8 will take out each other, leaving just the b. Negative 8 divided by 8, that is 1. Negative 1. Okay? So if you look at my parentheses, those are the same, so that is one of my factor. So one of my factor is b minus 1. My other factor would be these two terms outside the parentheses, which is b plus 8. And this is my other solution here. Okay? Alright. My next example. Now, this one, I also want you to take some notes for this, but let's get into it. My a value here is 1, because this is 1y squared. My b value is negative 8, that's the coefficient of my middle term there. And c is 15, which is my constant there. Okay, so AC would be 1 times 15, and 1 times 15, that is 15. Now, this is the part I want you to take notes for. If your AC value is positive, but your b value is negative, it means that both factors must be negative. Because only negative times negative will give you positive, or positive times positive give you positive. So once your AC value is positive, but your B value is negative, both factors must be negative. Okay? So, and if I add these two, if I even change these to negative and I add them, I'll get negative 16, which is not this. Okay? So I must think of other factors of 15, that when I add them, I'll get negative 8. So if we think about negative 3 times negative 5, that will still give us positive 15, which is this. But negative 3 plus negative 5, that is negative 8, which is this part here. So we're going to replace our middle term here with this factor here. So this will give us, let's write it, y squared minus 8y, but my 8y, my negative 8y will take this form. So that will be minus 3y plus minus 5y plus my 15 here. Okay, and I put these two in parentheses, so that is y squared minus 3y plus negative 5y plus 15. Now my greatest common factor here would be y. And y squared divided by y, that would just be y, because y squared is y times y, divided by this y, it will take out one of those y, leaving just y here. Negative 3y divided by y, the y's will take out each other, leaving just the negative 3. Alright, now I'm going to factor a negative 5 here. Why I'm taking a negative 5? Because in this parentheses I want a positive y. I want my parentheses to be the same. Now negative 5y divided by negative 5, the negative 5's will take out each other, leaving just the y, and that's what I want. I want this to be the same as this. Okay. Now 15 divided by negative 5, that is negative 3. Now if you look at the parentheses, they are the same. They must be the same. Okay. So it means that this is one of my factors. So it is y minus 3. And my other factor would be these two things, these two terms outside the parentheses. So I have y, and then I have a negative 5 here. And this would be my factors. That's how we go about factoring, that kind of thing. I hope you have learned something, or factoring polynomials, specifically quadratic, is a little bit easier for you. Have a fantastic day.